Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 2 will present to you guys about the Bithaman Ajil implementation in Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad. There are 5 objectives from this presentation. First, to explain the concept of Bithaman Ajil and its legality. Second, to identify transactions and the models of the contract of BBA by providing flexible modes of payment to perform daily transactions. Third, to know the method of profit taking by BIMB in implementing Bithaman Ajil. Objective number 4, to identify the factors BIMB took into account in improving BBA's application. Last but not least, to identify the differences between Bithaman Ajil and Syuraka Mutanakisah. Our group consists of 5 members. Nur Ain Khalila binti Manzalan is the first presenter, when Nurul Amirah binti Wan Muhammad Izani is the second presenter, Fatin Hanisa binti Muhammad Fauzi is the third presenter, Ifa Fatini binti Salmi is the fourth presenter, and last but not least, Anis Husna binti Abdullah Faizi is the fifth presenter. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Ain Khalila binti Manzalan, and I will present the concept of Bithaman Ajil. Bithaman Ajil or BBE is a deferred payment sale contract in which an asset is sold for a specified price, payment method, and profit. According to Ziauddin Ahmad, BBA contracts allows the buyer and seller to agree on a future date and a lump payment of installments for the purchase price of a commodity. Simply, Bithaman Ajil allows for the deferred payment to the buyer where the deferred price of the object sale includes the profit margin agreed by contracting parties. In Bank Islam, the bank customers will usually ask the bank to buy their assets at a cash price, and the bank will sell the assets to the other customers with price markup through an installment plan. So we can see here that BBA has similar features with Murabahah contract, or known as markup sale. But the difference between the two contracts is that the BBA used for long-term payments, and the seller doesn't have to disclose the profit margin in the sale price. Next, the legality of BBA. BBA is not only used in Malaysia, but BBA is also widely used in Indonesia, Brunei, and other countries, but not in the Middle East, where their scholars have rejected this contract openly. So the question arises, is Bithaman Ajil permissible in Islam? In general, all contracting parties sales are halal, non-harmful, and agreed to is permissible in Islam. So it is clear that Bithaman Ajil is also permissible in Islam. Most Islamic jurists, including Imam Shafi'i, Imam Hanafi, Zaid bin Ali, and Mu'ayyad bin Allah, and Al-Shakani have allowed different prices to include profit margins. However, there are certain conditions following Islamic principles. First, sales assets are kept in the bank deposits before being handed to other parties. Second, no price increase in case of default or late payment. Last but not least, set another time for the customers who cannot pay on time because of their financial problems.
Hi, my name is Wan Nurul Amirah, and in this video, I will explain about transactions and modus operandi contract of BBA. Next, I will explain about transactions of BBA. The financing operation of Bithaman Ajil starts from a customer proposal and then followed by a proposal from the financial institution selected as the financiers. Financial institutions that have a Bithaman Ajil transactions license are eligible to carry out this type of financings. Basically, this BBA contract based products are used either in short-term financing or long-term financing, such as home financing, mega project financing, and motor vehicle financing. And BBA is used in Islamic banking operation as a product to finance their customers, like education loans, share and stock purchase, housings, vehicles, machinery, and others. Alright, so as you can see here, Bank Islam offers the Nakat overdraft facility under these concepts. Like the operation of this Nakat overdraft contains two separate contracts, which is the first one is the contract where BIMB purchases assets from their customers on a cash basis, and the second contract is where BIMB resell the purchase asset back on a BBA basis. Next, as you can see here, this picture shows the modus operandi of BBA. So, the first one is the customer purchase the assets from the developers through a sale and purchase agreement, SMP, by paying a 10% deposit or down payments to the developer, and the buyer receives the benefits of ownership of the house. Alright, the second is the customer sells the assets that have been purchased from the developer to the bank through a property purchase agreement, PPA, at a cash price, which is the cost price of the house. The third one is the bank settles the remaining 90% of the total price be paid by the buyer to the developer, and the bank becomes a CO owner of the house with the buyers. Fourth, the bank resells the assets to the customer through a property sale agreement at a deferred price that includes the assets cost as well as a certain profit margins. And lastly, when the buyer has completed the payments of the house financing amount to the bank, the house will revert to the buyer's absolute property.
My name is Fatin Hanifah, and I will explain about methods of profit taking in the implementation in BIMB, which is Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad.
The monthly installment payment charged to the customer has been added. The profit rate in it. The concept of installment payment used in this BBA will experience price fluctuations and differences due to, first, certain benchmarks such as base lending rate BLR and base financing rate BFR, and also second, spread to customers over a period of time. An example, if the payment charge including the profit rate for that month becomes lower, then it has been rebate so that the monthly installments can be reduced in line with the current market level. If the rising interest rate exceeds the total monthly installment payment, then the total installment payment charge will not exceed the agreed coin price because the effective profit rate will not change. In fact, it remains at the agreed coin price. The total amounts of installments that have been charged should not exceed the original sale price, but it can be less and will be considered as discount. Next is BLR versus BFR. BLR is base lending rate and BSR is base financing rate. Bank Islam use base financing rate BFR instead of BLR base lending rate because they do not use the concept of loans that use in base lending rate, but they provide financing using contracts that are valid under Islamic law. BFR in Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad. The BFR rate is already set. However, it can fluctuate, such as based on discount or rebate given. The BFR rate that has been set by Bank Negara Malaysia is 5.55%. But Bank Islam placing a rebate or discount at 1.5%. So 1.5% will be deducted from 5.55% and the BFR rate is reduced and only charged at 4.05% per month. Rate of profit taken in housing financing on the previous was 5.0% of the payment amount. But because of BFR rate in Bank Islam is reduced, so it charged at 4.3% per year.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Ifa Fatimi binti Salmi. This slide I will explain the factors of taken into account by Bank Islam in approving by Bithaman Ajil's application. The first factors is eligibility requirements. There are 11 conditions that need to be met to be eligible for PBA financing service at Bank Islam. The condition can be generally be divided into parts, which is the condition set based on the condition of contract found in Islamic Muamalah and additional condition imposed by Bank Islam. Among the condition set based on Islamic transaction that they be healthy, sane and not bankrupt. Meanwhile, among the additional condition imposed by Bank Islam is that an application must be Malaysian citizen, have a fixed income, not have a bad record with the bank, and several other conditions for the purpose of safeguarding the bank's interest. The second factor is bank membership. Customers are required to be members of Bank Islam before being allowed to obtain financing from the bank. The minimum deposit to become a member is RM500. The money will be invested where the profit will be divided in a mudarabah manner between Bank Islam and the customer. Therefore, indirectly in the BBA contract, there is also a mudarabah contract in the implementation of its business. The third factors is ownership of an asset. In order to obtain financing for an asset by BBA, customer must first obtain his right as the owner of the property, even if the price of the asset has not been paid. The customer will be given financing after signing a sale and purchase agreement with the property owner, which is a sale and purchase agreement. Bank Islam as the financiers can only approve the BBA financing application after the customer has legal ownership on the side of Shara. This financing procedure is used by all banking institutions that offer BBA products, including Bank Islam. The next factor is advertising collateral. Bank Islam also stipulate the need for collateral of each financing application that the customer want to apply for. For example, to finance the purchase of a new house, the finance house will be pledged to the bank. Through this method, the bank can take action to auction the pledged property if the customer fail to repay the prescribed installments. This condition is made to prevent losses to the bank if the customer fail to comply with the agreement, such as not paying the financing installment or running away. The last factor is financing period. The financing period is the deferred sale price that must be paid by customer to the bank in installments according to the period changed by them. The financing period is either 10, 15, 20, 25, or 30 years. The bank will look at the age of the customer. If the customer is young, they allowed to the financing period to be extended by up to 30 years. Meanwhile, if the customer is 45 years old when making this application, he or she is only allowed to get the financing for a period of up to 20 years.
My name is Anisosna binti Abdul Fazil. So today I'm going to present about the differences between by Bithaman Ajil and Musyarakah Mutanakisah. So today I'm going to present about the difference between by Bithaman Ajil and also Musyarakah Mutanakisah. The first differences is by Bithaman Ajil is actually a deferred payment sale contract. Meanwhile, for Musyarakah Mutanakisah, it is actually a partnership based on a partnership concept. The second one is by Bithaman Ajil is debt type financing. Meanwhile, Musyarakah Mutanakisah is actually a joint ownership. The third one is by Bithaman Ajil is more complicated since they can only hold the ownership after full payment of the full tenure has been made. Meanwhile, for Musyarakah Mutanakisah, it is actually more flexible since they can own the property earlier by redeeming earlier the principal sum of the bank without computing the rebates. The next one it is actually for by Bithaman Ajil. It has been recognized predominantly in Malaysia, Indonesia and Brunei. Meanwhile, for Musyarakah Mutanakisah, it has been accepted internationally as Sharia compliant. The next one, by Bithaman Ajil does not allow any early payment. Meanwhile, for Musyarakah Mutanakisah, early payment has been allowed. And for the last differences, it is the owner of the certain item is for the customer only. Meanwhile, for Musyarakah Mutanakisah, the owner is actually for both bank and the customer have property based on the agreed shares. So for the conclusion, by Bithaman Ajil is actually popular as the largest subscription in the Islamic banking scheme. The second one is by Bithaman Ajil is permissible and has been proven that it is one of the Islamic contract that are often being practiced in nowadays life. And the last one is we have learned about the difference between by Bithaman Ajil and also Musyarakah Mutanakisah, which makes it easier to identify between the two of them.